Yes, I love this for us. This is called progress, people.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, last time it took us 25 minutes.
No, it didn't happen. Didn't exist.
Now it took us 2 minutes
That's
to realize that the mute button,
I love this.
the mute button was on. Okay, before we jump into our show, we are recording now as we're live streaming for our DC radio show, Wit and Reason, with Alex and Dr. Alexis. Before we get into all that, though, let's do our tech check. So if you can be patient with us, we want to make sure you all can hear us and see us. Most importantly, we use our content from YouTube. So that's Wit and Reason. So if you use YouTube, go over there and subscribe. It's the best way to engage with us because, as you notice, we're horizontal for that reason. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking out YouTube.
Yeah. Take a and we could chat really easily that way. We also go live on TikTok. If you turn your screen, your phone horizontal, that will get you there. And then Instagram, you just have to see us tiny because there's no way. I've tried it where you like turn it sideways. It didn't do anything. So you have some options though. And we're checking out our live, making sure it's working. There we go.
That's me looking at this thing, and I'm having a panic attack as this is very meta for me, and I don't.
Well, stop looking. You just need to check it.
Okay.
You don't need to like be super into it.
All right. Cool.
And now checking us on Instagram.
Woo-hoo.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
Hope y'all can hear us.
They can. It should be.
And then TikTok. Why don't you check we're also TikTok, Wit and Reason. You can find us there as well. So let me go ahead and say hi in the comments. Let us know if there's any tech issues or any thoughts, questions, feelings you have along the way as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then we're on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
All right. So we did our tech check. Now we could dive in.
Say that 3 times fast. Go.
No, thank you. Right. I'm already struggling with the one way. So I'm trying to make my life hard. Don't kick this table.
Oh,
I'm going to start like officially. We're recording, but from here on out, make my editing life a lot easier, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, let's center up a little bit better.
Okay.
I think we'll go this way.
Okay.
Okay.
The roaring fire. Let's go.
Yeah. This is our fireplace, but we have to. We're very close to it, so we don't turn it on. But maybe for Valentine's, we could like scoot forward and not burn ourselves. Yeah. And then we'd have like a romantic fireside chat.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
Although it's going to be really warm.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and then let me turn on our names. Ooh. And then let me turn off this load. Look at it. Yeah, I'm like figuring this program out.
Yeah. Learning some stuff.
And hide this.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
That's me. I'm Alex. You're Dr. Alexis. She's the doctor.
Welcome. You're listening to DC Radio, Wit and Reason with
Alex
and Dr. Alexis. And we're going to just first check in and see how everyone's doing. So even if you're joining us online, let us know in the comments how you've been. How
you doing?
How you've been holding up?
How are
How you been feeling? How's life been going? This is at least here in our home, it's a safe place. If you're chatting online, I don't know if everyone be kind to one another. Okay.
Yeah.
No crap talking.
Yeah. For our DC
so
folk,
we would like to try to keep it as safe of a place as possible.
Yeah. For our DC folk, I know it's been a really long week and there's a lot of things going on that may adjust how you're working, where you're working, and what you're doing every day. So we hope you're all safe and well.
Yeah.
For our Angelinos out there too, we hope that you have found shelter and survived the major fire that is finally out and you're finding ways to get the help.
I hope
that
I've
you need.
had shelter since the fires. It's been a bit.
They set up a really cool container home thing. Yeah, it was very cool looking, but they did it really quick in a parking lot, and it looked actually pretty nice.
Okay.
Hey, we hope you're well.
How have things been on your end?
Busy, but good. I mean, like, I've been, so, shit that's going on, right? So I've been, focusing on, well, you know this, but you all won't know this. We spend a lot of time together. And so like, we have friends. We do have a lot of friends, and people we love, we don't always have them near where we are at a given moment. So I went out to dinner with a bunch of people that I did not know, and it was really lovely. It was great.
That's such a vulnerable experience to have, to like go out on your own to meet a bunch of strangers.
And I'm okay with that. I'm good with strangers. I'm not socially anxious. I do, however, realize that I still have a little bit of a therapist-y hat on more often when it's a room full of people that I do not know.
But it's hard to take off, even with people, especially
the people
I don't know which is harder, people with strangers or people you know.
People I know, it's easy. I know how to take that off. I've been doing this long enough, 20 years of experience. I can take that hat off with people.
I think it depends on who it is.
I know I sound the same no matter where I am. If you talk to me in session and if you meet me on the street, I'm going to sound the exact same person, even how much I swear. But the idea is that like, it was interesting to like how I analyzed a situation. And it was interesting because I met this person and they were very cool there, but they were visiting from the US Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
And they were at dinner with all these other people and everyone's like, yeah, that'd be really great. And they were kind of more soft-spoken about it. And they're like, oh, that'd be really great. Take me home in your suitcase and all these jokes. And I'm like, and immediately it occurred to me, like, these people may not know what they're talking about. And it kind of bothered me.
Everyone like had a positive reaction to this person living
on an island.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and I get that.
And there they were like socializing with people there. I mean, like, I'm like their own age, right? Like, so like, but like, there's things that I think of when I think of like loneliness as an adult and being somebody who's been nomadic for a year. I mean, like, I know what loneliness can look like.
Yeah.
And like my immediate thought, and something that I didn't say until later when we were talking one-on-one a little bit more, I was like, lonely? Like,
you just
like I like
you just said the word out there, like the shrug.
Island life, like kind of rough.
You're
man.
like the shrug emoji.
And I got the coolest information about like the U.S. Virgin Islands and like people who raise their kids there and great. It's
but
great
what
for
was their response to when you asked?
They're like, there's not anybody. I mean, there's really nobody his age there.
So you are one-on-one with this this new person that you're meeting, and then you're like lonely. I'm like, is that really how it happened?
I was like, how's island life? Everyone was all excited. I was like, lonely? And he was, yeah, kind of. I mean, like, and he's like, that's what I was doing. I'm like, totally, man. Like, and we totally bonded over this moment. And we chatted. We had a great time the rest of the night. We listened to music. We were having some drinks. We were having a great time talking and chopping it up. It was great.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was part of the perception. And I just kind of wanted to change that perception just a little bit. Because I was like
you don't, and then especially like if you're in a social situation and you share something, you disclose something, it doesn't even have to be like major. It just could be like, where you live, and that could have a certain meaning to you. But if everyone else around you is like has a response to that, then you kind of feel pressured to like mask up and say like and kind of go along with it. Just
and I'm like I know they didn't mean to like kind of like push him away in that weird regard, but like he got quieter after that thing, and then when
you notice he's like even like kind of pulling his body back. Like,
and that's what I meant.
We notice all the fine mannerisms,
and that's what I noticed when my therapist had us more on than off. But but I was able to like kick back, and then we talked for a long time. It was great.
Yes,
but amazing human, really cool person. I get to learn a lot about.
I'm very proud of you for like in Alex's effort to like make new friends, and we're in a new city right now where we don't really know a lot of people. So you actually went through like a formal program where they like bring a bunch of strangers together for dinner. Somewhere out in public. I thought it was going to be at somebody's house, and I was no. I
mean, I do that. I'd probably do that too. Yeah.
So that to me, that felt more anxious, where it's like kind of like a forced scenario, even though everyone's like consenting to participate in this.
Yeah.
I'd feel more comfortable like going with you than me going by myself, and then it's like, who are these people? Are they like in my age group? Like,
doesn't matter. No, just I mean, that's the thing.
And then like I'm going to be like sitting with a bunch of like people I don't align with, or
well, I mean, you start with small talk, you see if that goes anywhere. If you don't like small talk, you do a little bit deeper talk, and there you are.
You were a little nervous before you went out.
I get slightly nervous, but that's only because like I'm like, I don't want to have to like. I really hope that I'm not going to run into somebody who definitively will say something horrible. I worry about some of those things.
Yeah, fair.
Like, I'm a white man in the world, which is fine, but I'm also Jewish. So like people don't realize that part.
Yeah.
And they'll say something and you're like, oh, I kind of hope you die in a house fire. And then like, you can't say that out loud to people. I mean,
and then you gotta like kind of work through that.
Yeah.
that
so
thought
like,
process and that emotion of like, And then you have to navigate either the blatant-ism or the microaggression, which is even more challenging
it's like when people don't
figure out what to do with.
When people don't know, like they tend to say things, and then when they say things and you're like, hey, but no.
Yeah. Or you don't like laugh at the joke that they're saying, and then I get you. There is that risk. And we're down in the South right now. And our city is pretty diverse, but
to be fair, it's not necessarily about like I know that, you know, like I'm gonna meet really nice people, and I figured it's gonna be okay, but that's part of it. So anyway, I
feel you. And I've also been making efforts to to socialize out there in the world, and so I took the puppy. Rascal, she's right there looking at me. I don't want to get her too excited because then she's going to jump and terrorize everything we've set up here. But I took her out for a beach day, and then we stopped by like this random beach dive bar, and then it depends on where I'm at. Sometimes I pass and people spew shit at me that I have to like fucking correct them on.
Like they think you're white?
They think.
Okay. So she's not white.
No, I'm Mexican.
Yeah. Just to be clear.
I'm Latina. Just in case any of you
not white.
No.
White, not white.
Yeah. It happened more on the West Coast than the East Coast. People see something's different about me on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. So I either get that I have to like navigate similar to you, mm-hmm. Or I get the too excited intrigue to want to like make eye contact, and I can see you from my periphery. Like I can see you getting like, oh, there's an exotic looking woman over there. Like I want to like interact with her, and either from like a sweet place of like I want to diversify my social group, mm-hmm. or a creepy ass place, mm-hmm. old white men, mm-hmm. right? Who like, oh, there's a Latina over there. I want to go talk to her. Then the wedding ring is nice to. Helps with some of
you need a bigger one. I need just a really large one,
right?
You need a ring pop.
That would be great. Just like no.
Wear a ring pop as a wedding ring and be like, no.
Dude, even when I wasn't married, like I would have a fake ring just so that way I wouldn't be bothered.
Was it a ring pop then?
No, it was like a fake.
Okay.
And so sure enough, I'm sitting at this bar with my dog, and then I see from the side there's this older white guy who like visually targets me, and then comes up with some kind of excuse to like change seats all the way across the bar to sit like it was like at an angle, but the next seat over.
Okay.
And I told you about this. And then similar to he tries like being like friendly and joking, mm-hmm. but about terrible shit.
Yeah.
And in this case, I mentioned that I'm from LA because he was asking where I was from. And then his immediate response to like me sharing that I'm from LA was like, oh, I'm glad you got out of there just in time. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I moved like 6 years ago. Like I didn't just move. He's like, well, the wildfires, aren't you glad that you got out of there? And I was like, well, the wildfires weren't happening when I left. But I moved because of traffic. I was like not understanding like what, and he was like laughing about it, and I wasn't understanding what the joke was. And he's like, well, it's probably good that you're not there because of the wildfires, and I was like, gosh. And he was like trying to say like that I personally benefited from not being there. I was like, my whole family is still over there. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, okay. Well, but you didn't, but they weren't impacted, right? He was trying to kind of like dismiss all of my realities of like, mm-hmm. no, the wildfires aren't funny. My community is still burned down. My family's still out there. I have family members who were personally impacted and lost everything. And that's all the kind of stuff you might like dismiss and not say when first meeting someone.
Well, and I think it's.
But I didn't want to just sit there and like appease him and like laugh, ha ha ha. This like horrible devastation that happened to my hometown is a laughing matter. Well,
and then I think it's also the Californian thing because there's like a whole idea around Californians, which is very interesting.
Yeah, everyone talks shit about California, mm-hmm. and thought that because I'm one of the Californians who left, I would like
being on the
align with him and like
Being on
talk
the joke,
shit about
yeah.
California. Like, no, I love
But
California.
I think
I
that's
just hate traffic.
fair. But I think that's the interesting thing. Like, people have very myopic views of the world.
Mhm.
People have very specific experiential anecdotes that then they apply to all things.
Yeah.
They create these things, and Freud called them schemas, but they create these ideas around these things. And that's part of the problem. They created these ideas
Mhm.
and then they never challenged them. And so tonight we're talking about
DEI.
Yeah. We're talking DEI.
Which, I mean, I don't think a lot of people would make those associations of like awkward social cues and those microaggression and like having to mask up and laugh shit off. That's not funny. A lot of that takes its toll on us.
Yeah.
from whatever of the multiple communities or cultural identities that you align with. And so we're going to be diving more into DEI,
Mm-hmm.
which does have its role in all the interpersonal interactions.
I mean, and that's the thing. When we're talking about this, we're talking about society, right? So we want diversity, right? So something different than what you're maybe accustomed to within your own realm or sphere. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of different choices. It is also could be an old wooden ship. That's, to be fair, it could be.
Wait,
you could be thinking diversity is an old wooden ship.
Wait, Alex, just so I can get this as a good soundbite. So, Alex, can you tell us what is diversity?
Isn't it in the days of an old wooden ship in like the days of yore? Like,
you didn't say it in the days of yore.
Yeah.
You're adding your own twist to a perfectly good Anchorman quote.
I'm adding SNL, Will Ferrell, and
they also talk about diversity.
Jeopardy. No, Jeopardy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a hammer. Sorry.
I can't believe this entire time we've been talking about DEI,
and nobody's making that joke.
Yeah, no one's made the Anchorman joke.
I know, but I mean, that's
diversity.
The thing.
It's an old wooden ship.
So diversity is the presence of things of different attributes within a place, right? So like you're talking about race, gender, age, all sorts of different things. Mm-hmm. It could be anything. Veteran status, socioeconomic status,
sexual orientation,
disability. Could be anything. Mm-hmm. Like people who speak multiple languages. I mean, really, it could be about anything when it comes to diversity. And diversity can be through all these different things. Yeah. It's not just one thing. It's not being Black in a workplace. Mm-hmm. That's a really myopic, weird view of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's bizarre that people take it this way. But when you talk about diversity, then you have equity, right? Mm-hmm. Like equity is interesting because equity is just everyone wants to be treated fairly.
Yeah.
Don't you want to be treated fairly the same as everyone? Like don't
you just want like your and these aren't like wants or preferences. Don't you just want your like needs met? And if you could imagine, if everyone's needs were met, particularly like in the workplace, for example, how much more efficient your workplace would be?
I mean, even at a very basic level, like I want to be able to see two people that got hired at the same time and they get paid the same amount.
Yeah, doing the same job, same credentials.
And then a year later, like they should have the same opportunities to move up. They should have the same opportunities to get raises. Yeah. They should not be compromised because of any other factor there. Now, if there's something which is a meritocracy and you're working on something else there, then you have to question then how to build somebody up and engage in that. That's what equity does.
At like the basic level. So we do like DEI. We're in mental health and in psychology, and there's a lot, if you could imagine, psychology involved in DEI work. And so we do a lot of DEI services. And so one of the basic ways for people who like don't get it is like, can you imagine if you weren't allowed to wear glasses at work?
Yeah.
Like if you don't have equity, or if you try to promote like equality, or if you just try to have like a standard across the board, no glasses, everyone should just be able to see properly and should be able to see their work and like do it just as equally as anybody else. Like that's such BS, you know?
And I mean, people are going to pick at that and find caveats to that particular job. Like you want a person who has 20/20 vision for some type of job. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you're like a combat zone or something like that, where you might not have your glasses or can't rely on your contact lenses and or like you're doing
Sure.
some kind of, but if you're like doing like basic computer work,
there will always be caveats to every single argument, which is
Yeah.
why you can't talk about every single workplace, every single thing, all of the time.
And
But
that's the weird thing about these arguments is that
I mean,
people
like-
do not seem to understand, number one, what DEI is. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Then sometimes you also add the B, belonging, and then the A, which is like accessibility,
Mhm.
right? So they don't even know what that stands for, let alone
Yeah.
what each one is defined as. And then what does that actually look like in practice? And so you're gonna tell us what I is.
Oh,
for inclusivity.
inclusion, right? So
Yeah.
like making sure that you're inclusive in the places and you're feeling a welcoming place, right? So
Yeah.
like making sure that you have the ability to navigate those spaces in a way.
Mhm.
You know, that's it. Like
Yeah.
you can participate, you can show up. Like you can get, if you're a disabled veteran who was in a wheelchair, that you could get into the fucking building.
Yeah.
Like that's a bare minimum requirement. Like let somebody into the building.
Mhm.
Like that's
Give them
inclusion.
access to their workplace.
That's, so just to be clear, that's DEI. If I don't let a veteran into a workspace because they're in a wheelchair, they're protected under
Mhm.
things like this.
Yeah, or they don't even have to be a veteran.
And so a lot of these
Anyone
things,
would.
it basically, it's like HR only does so much. They work for the employer. The DEI coordinators and people within the workplace are a certain aspect of HR that ensure that your rights are upheld. Your ADA rights, your American Disabilities Act rights, those rights are upheld.
Mhm.
Like all sorts of
Anti-sexual harassment.
all sorts of ways. Yeah.
Anti-discrimination. I mean,
Anything that is required, that is considered like a protected class,
Yeah.
right? Like you are then safer because of this person being there. This is not to make,
not to force hires.
not force hires. You can't force a hire.
Yeah. And I posted about that before.
Yeah.
when Trump was trying to blame the plane crash on a DEI hire.
You mean the white people are flying?
Yeah. But explaining that, like, we start with first properly assessing what is needed for this job and making sure that what we're saying are the requirements for the job are there. There's like a strong rationale for that.
Mhm.
And then we do everything from going through the hiring process or the pathway to even let people know that you're hiring for this job. Then we go through the interview process. What's that like? What kind of questions are you asking? Who's doing the interview? Where is it? How long is the interview? Where is it being held? You know, like who can actually access that interview? Not everyone can do like an 8-hour day interview.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so we look at all of the nuances from the very beginning, all the way throughout a person's like career or experience in the workplace, from who gets promoted and why. What are the evaluation process like, even when they're doing their like quarterly check-ins with their supervisor?
Yeah.
You know, like what's
or their
that process?
self-evaluations. Yeah.
Oh, even down to like marketing materials, who's represented in imagery, and then all the way through mentorship, sponsoring.
Yeah.
You even mentioned like even who you hire for suppliers.
Yeah.
You know, is it, if you have like a white-owned company who just hires from people that they know within their network, and then hires suppliers who they know from their network. Do you see how?
I don't even. But for me, like it's even just about like what does it look like to find new smaller businesses to bring up with you, right?
Yeah.
So if I want to find, like just a small, woman-owned business, Latino-owned business. Like I want to find a Black-owned business. I want to find a small business owner that I can lift up to and nurture the relationship as a supplier.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, like I want to take advantage of, and it sounds weird to say it that way, I want to take advantage of the amazing group of people who are entrepreneurs trying to build things up, right? I want to meet new folks. I don't want to just buy the cheapest thing from the cheapest people from the cheapest whatever.
And then I get the counter argument to that, where it's like, well, we're not a nonprofit, like this takes time to kind of like research and find those small businesses and to nurture those new suppliers or whatever.
That's also,
and there's a risk because they're new and
Sure.
they're a young company.
But take the risk and see what happens. That's part of the thing.
Or at the very least, I mean, like,
every major company that we're looking at right now and kind of drooling over, as far as, if you look at Apple, it started in a garage. Like most of these things started in a garage. Why did they start in a garage? Because they needed to start somewhere. And if you don't believe in that, I mean, look at Shark Tank. Shark Tank works for a reason, because it takes venture capitalists who know what they're doing to look at people, not just the product, but the people, and say, okay, here, let's do something with this. So DEI is essential to so many other ways in which we can move forward and leaps and bounds in business. And people just miss it. They're so short-sighted.
And then all the research, and here's the tricky part, is that not all DEI is done the same. And so I get those complaints as well, even when I come in as a consultant to an organization and they claim that they do DEI, and to them, all that means is like, talking about racism and discrimination during the orientation training,
That's not what this is.
I described to you like all the different things we do from beginning, even community involvement. So even like pre-beginning, all the way to the end of somebody's career, including like holiday, pay time off, policies, like all these things. And then they tell me they do DEI, and it's like one training at orientation that they never get again. And then they wonder why they have so much harassment and discrimination issues. And so if you're doing DEI right, and it's holistic in that way. And you're working through all of the different departments. So you don't want it all to rely on one little DEI committee as well, who's all like, people of color and like young minorities not getting paid for this extra work. But you want it like throughout your entire company. And it's considered at everything that you do. Then all the research shows that like DEI is actually incredibly beneficial to the companies that have them in place.
Yes. And I mean, they're doing a lot of different things there, but on top of that, like, you solving problems requires diversity. Like, and what I mean that even just diversity of education, diversity of thought, diversity of experience, diversity of everything. Like, you are going to solve more problems if you have a bunch of other people tapping into it than not.
Can you imagine like how limited your conference table is?
I'm like, do you remember the Chevy Aztec? Sorry.
No.
It's a group think car. It's a group think car. They put it all together. It was a bunch of people who were like, yeah, Homer Simpson makes fun of this car. All right, so the Simpsons made fun of this car. They had Homer talk about how he wanted all these things in a car. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that sounds great. And they put it all together. And it was a flop. It was horrible. It was terrible. It's an awful vehicle. I'm sorry for you.
Why were they all okay with what Homer Simpson was saying?
Like, and there's a lot of even vehicles out there that are group think vehicles that are things like that, things that do not survive.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other things within group think. When you do not have diversity and experience, or you put things in a certain perspective, they're not able to get any type of thing. Like,
we see this all the way down to like products that are being made, or how safety, like in vehicles, it is being assessed, all the way down to like our research and medical care. I mean, it's a big problem everywhere and in every aspect of our lives. And we had, we were getting such good momentum. From 2020, where people were starting to get the importance of this. Forbes put out, I'll put it on our website, our webpage for this show. Forbes put out a good article that kind of, they talk about the recent lawsuit that Target's facing because of DEI, or what they're alleging. But then they also provide like a really great chronological like timeline of issues and complaints and concerns and achievements, everything along the way. So check that out if you're just getting into this concept, because it's in mainstream media. This is your chance to kind of look through it and understand what DEI is really about. So we're going to play a game.
Okay.
Myth and fact. I'm excited. Okay. This is our first game on the show.
Is it really a game?
Yeah. Well, we can make it a game.
Okay. Ready?
Don't poo-poo my game.
All right, fine.
My excitement here.
Whatever. All right.
Okay. So
like, she doesn't get out much. It's not a game.
Hey, I went to a bar and was annoyed by an older gentleman who tried to laugh at my family's tragedy in LA. Okay, I get out. And that is enough for the month.
Fine. All right, read your myth and fact.
Okay, so myth. DEI lowers. Thank you, puppy. Drop it. I'm going to use this to make it even more exciting.
Oh my God, don't.
It's Rascal's chew toy that is very wet. I regret picking it up.
She's going to be too excited.
She is going to be excited. Myth, DEI lowers hiring standards. Give us the facts, Alex.
Fact. DEI initiatives aim to broaden the talent pool by removing biases, ensuring that qualified candidates from diverse backgrounds are considered.
Yay! See how fun this is when there's a horn involved?
It's not a game. I stand by my previous statement.
Myth and fact is a game. See, we need little paddles next time.
It needs to be true or false, and then some of them have to be true and some of them have to be false.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. Myth or fact? DEI is only about race and gender.
False.
You have to say myth.
Oh, myth. Sorry, I'm terrible in this game. All right, this is where I failed.
You literally just made up the rules.
Yeah. Fact. DEI encompasses a wide range of identities, including but not limited to race, gender, age, sexual orientation, disability, and socioeconomic status.
Okay, and last one. Fact or myth? Those are your options.
Okay.
DEI initiatives are divisive.
That's a myth. Yeah, did I win? All right, fact. DEI programs aim to foster understanding and unity by addressing systemic inequalities and promoting a culture of respect.
And yet here we are with it in the news, somehow becoming divisive. And I think, tell me in the comments, oh man. Mm-hmm. Tell me in the comments if you see this too. I'm thinking right now in this moment that DEI is divisive because they're not really arguing about DEI.
They are.
Yeah.
They're talking,
they're talking about all kinds of other nonsense.
Well, can we?
That has nothing to do with DEI.
Can we jump to, there's a person I really like that said something about this. Can we jump to that?
Okay. So go ahead in your comments and let us know what your thoughts, feelings are about DEI experiences, maybe. Okay, Rascals, all done. And then we're going to go ahead and share some videos that people have put out there about DEI with you all. This time our audio is going to work.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and hear other people's perspectives.
And the reason that the propaganda around affirmative action and diversity, equity, inclusion has worked this way is because of racism.
Oh, wait. Oh, go back.
This post reads, veterans didn't know they were DEI hires because everyone thinks DEI means black. And this is the same thing that happened with affirmative action, because white women benefited the most from affirmative action, but got mad because they thought that people of color, black people, were getting admitted to college in place of them and didn't deserve to be. And the reason that the propaganda around affirmative action and diversity, equity, and inclusion has worked this way is because of racism. And at a certain point, you have to realize that a lot of these people are grown adults who have the ability to look stuff up. Most of these veterans who do vote, most of these people getting into colleges who do vote, have the ability to look up what these actually are instead of listening to a charismatic man on a stage tell them what it means. And again, the reason that the propaganda works is because of the racism.
See?
I appreciate that.
See? Because they think it means black. And I think that's where racism kicks in, and that they miss this. They think it's because they're...
Which is in and of itself so
pretty screwed up. Yeah.
So problematic.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and you handle that better than I do. I'm going to take this toy away from this puppy.
Take it away from the puppy.
You're very cute.
So then
okay, drop it.
This one I really like too, because like this kind of also explains some of the ways in which you run into problems in the workplace, and this is why. So here, let me do this one. I really like her. She's fantastic.
Some of y'all really think that the reason why your work environment is predominantly white is because those were the candidates that were the best for the job, when in reality, the reason why your work environment is predominantly white is because it's too toxic to retain people of color.
I have come to those issues. That's why people would hire me. In some cases, is that they're realizing we can't retain and we don't know what's going on and why, and people aren't telling us. They're just leaving, and they won't even disclose it in exit interviews. But it's like, if you've had fucked up experiences all the way throughout your employment, you're gonna be like, no, Bye.
Yep.
I'm going to go somewhere where I'm more respected, where I don't have to deal with this extra bullshit.
Yep.
And I don't need to try to help you out along the way as I'm like leaving, you know? So then they hire DEI consultants to come in and help them figure it out. And sure enough, there was a lot of, I can't say what was going on or who it was with, but there was a lot of bullshit going on that we had to resolve. But
it's the thing, like, I mean, like, you also have to think about what makes for a really good environment. Mm-hmm. Inclusivity is great. Inclusivity is wonderful. It allows you to like have everybody's perspective. It allows you to engage. It allows you to feel really good about what you're doing all together. Mm-hmm. And it allows for you to learn something other than what you already know.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want the same food every single day of your life? Or do you want to try a bunch of different types of food in the world? There's one of my favorite movies. There's a line from this movie. It goes, "Some people don't know how to live." Problem with you is you don't know how to live. Life is a banquet, and some poor suckers are starving to death. So if you've never seen Anti-Mame, you should see Anti-Mame. It's a good movie.
So kind of speaking to actively engaging in multicultural exploration, learning from other people.
There's so much that can be had.
Practicing that openness.
Yeah.
We have another.
I added this one because I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun. I thought it'd be useful. Hey, let me just get that going on. I think this is the right one. Oh, there we go. Ready?
Is this a DEI restaurant? No, it's just Black owned. But there's a DEI manager. No, that's just a woman in charge. Oh God, a DEI menu too? No, these are just tacos. What?
Yeah, that.
I think their title also says like when you're trying. Oh, I think it was like where you could still
be friends.
Yeah, still friends even though you have different. But it's like we're trying to make friends. There are some challenges along the way because you have to kind of get through all the bullshit to see if you even want to invest in this person.
Sure, but I mean, but even then, like think about this. Like if are you engaging in anything outside of your own cultural scope and practice? Well, I don't know. If you do enjoy Taco Tuesday, then yes, you are. So stop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I know that sounds ridiculous.
No, that's pretty, I disagree with that.
No, but I mean, like, food is part of, like, a cultural experience.
That's, like the reason.
If you don't want to bring in other things into your life, mm-hmm. then you're, I mean, that's the thing. Like, for me, like, DEI means that you are looking outside of yourself from your own cultural purview. Mm-hmm. So if you don't believe in DEI, don't eat tacos if you're not Mexican or Hispanic or Latin in some way.
Yeah.
If you're against DEI, only eat what you were born and raised.
You're against
that's it.
Diversity.
If you're against diversity, you only get to eat whatever food that you grew up. You only get to eat your own thing. You only get to celebrate your own things. You do not get to enjoy any other thing except for what you were supposed to do because you are anti-other humans.
There you go. So why do you get to benefit from diversity?
You do not get my bagels, people. You don't get to eat bagels anymore if you're anti-DEI.
You don't get our spices.
You don't get spices. You don't get.
Yeah. No, that part I get. Yeah. But when people try to say like, oh, well, you know, I appreciate other cultures and stuff. You know, I go to Taco Tuesday. No, that doesn't.
See, I didn't mean that as a cultural thing.
Like food is one small aspect, and that's something that I would trade about. Like, what does it mean to like, you know, to engage in other cultures or to even practice like multicultural humility? It's like another concept under that we train on for DEI.
There's so much out there. So
oh boy. Okay, so let's talk. Let's not leave people with the frustration. Let's talk about how we could actually level up, particularly around avoiding burnout.
Yeah.
I'm guessing if you're listening or watching the show, you have some amount of curiosity and openness and willfulness.
No.
Willingness to get engaged.
Yeah.
In this concept. And so
there's ways not to burn out. I mean, the ideas are, but you're going to get burnt out around all of the things that are happening right now that are very anti-diversity and anti a lot of this language. And part of it is to like hold space for other people of color, be able to then show up for those people who are in your diverse groups of people.
And again, not just other people of color, but other social orientation, religions, age.
Really just anything.
Yeah.
Good Lord. It just doesn't,
I know.
And
Yeah.
So be able to hold space for folks.
Mhm.
Be able to have conversations about this stuff. Don't be reactive to this stuff. Don't minimize it. I think a lot of it's going to be okay is not the phrase right now. It's
because
we don't know, but also on top of that, it placates the emotion. It's actually it's a barrier to empathy. So be there and be present. Say what you really feel around a given thing. Like, hey, I don't know what that is to experience that, but this is really hard. I'm very frightened, and maybe really frightened for you. And I hope that you're taking care of yourself. Like, that's it. Like, it's just being vulnerable. You don't have to have the right words. I'm a therapist, and I still don't feel like I have the right words.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's okay. Show up for that and just be there for that person. Be there for the people around you, and reach out to the people. If you're affected by this stuff, you have people who love and adore you. Reach out to those people too.
Mm-hmm.
So support is the biggest thing through all of this.
Yeah.
You have to reach out for support. You have to talk this up. It's a cold threat to our lives.
Yeah.
So like, because we all don't know what's going to happen, it's a cold threat. So you talk up cold threats.
Speak it out.
Speak it out.
Talk it out. Get it from here and and if you can, when you can, take breaks from the news and how sensationalized everything is, and bring yourself back from virtual or from DC issues, especially if you don't live in DC, but back to your community. Kind of find ways where you can ground yourself more in your own realities, in your own workplaces, in your own neighborhood, within your own family, friends, and social circles.
Or just things that are analog as well. So just unplugging could be getting out of virtual spaces into kind of like the analog spaces, just so you have a break from some constant news cycle or doom scrolling.
Yeah.
So
I think it's tough with doom scrolling, because then it's like it's a lot of negativity, and like that's all you get. And then if you just put the phone down,
we believe we're going to be prepared if we have this information, but you're really not. There's a lack of return on investment there. It does plateau. So
notice when it's plateauing, you're like, okay, I know what's going on, and then bring yourself from the virtual world back into your real world and look around and see what things are like for you in your real world, in your real life, and with your real.
So that's how you prevent burnout.
Engage and get support and support, and advocate and align.
And if you want to go out there in the world and do things with it, if you want to protest or other stuff like that, there are movements and people are doing that. You can also do those things. Again, everybody's going to be different. It's different levels of exhaustion for everyone. So
align yourself with organizations. People have been doing this for. This isn't a new. This is not a new fight.
This is not a new fight.
Even prior to 2020 and George Floyd, we've been having to educate people about DEI and the importance of it, and sell people on this concept in order to get in. And so there's organizations out there. There's people out there who've been doing this before it was even getting more popular.
Before the actual like catchphrase of DEI or affirmative action were a thing. We're just looking at equity or just looking at diversity, or I don't know, maybe you call it civil rights. I know. That's really cool. That's good. I'm glad we're married. All right. So
find organizations. You don't have to go at it your own. You're not alone in this. There's people who've been doing this for generations.
Yeah.
So find those organizations, find those people, and align with them as well.
And if you need some training, of course, if you want to learn about some more things, you want to do something like that, you can always look up Wit and Reason. We have some different courses that are available to allow people to kind of learn more and engage more, spread the word. We have that for all sorts of different things, but that can be really useful.
Yeah. I didn't realize it at the time, because to me, all of this stuff just seems like so obvious that it's like, why do we even need to do training about this kind of stuff? Like, don't sexually harass people at work. Like, why do I need to create a whole training about that? But it's needed, because not everyone had the same experiences that I did and think the way that I do.
Or don't realize what sexual harassment is.
Yeah.
Like, don't go up and try and hug your.
Or grab or block or. So we have trainings. So learn.witandreason.com. Particularly in the entertainment industry, we've partnered with a beautiful organization called Cintima, who specializes in training intimacy coordinators. And so we have 3 trainings. We have anti-bias, So you get to learn what bias even is and how to navigate it and how to advocate.
For the anti-sexual harassment.
And
for
bystander intervention.
I was thinking for many people out there, people who are especially listening to us, you probably aren't just bystanders. We work on you kind of being able to be an upstander. So that's the training we have.
Yeah.
So it's a bystander training working on upstanding, to be somebody who is talking up those things and being involved.
So they're great, great practices and principles that you could apply, whether or not you're in the entertainment industry. We focus in, because it's very much needed, in the entertainment industry, particularly in unique workplace settings, like when you're on set or on location, working long hours closely together. People sometimes get too familiar.
Yeah. And also, I mean, if you're not
in
the industry, it's kind of cool to get all of the stats on the industry. So you get to like a little bit of like what feels like it's not insider scoop because it's all public information, but it feels like
we did the research.
But it's a lot of research inside.
So unless you're looking into that, you don't know.
So it's all condensed versions of all of the gas.
Yeah. So check that out. I also have a general anti-discrimination, kind of promoting more multicultural humility training in there as well, and some self-care and wellness training. So keep on reflecting, learning, and evolving. Also for your self-care, we recommend the Aura Health app. I have some audio lessons in there dedicated to teaching people about mental health and wellness concepts in a very real way.
Yeah, it's coaching oriented. It's not just like meditation.
And not just my opinion.
No.
Evidence-based practice, teaching people those skills.
You basically lay out a one-sided version of a therapy session. Pretty quickly. And then really solid.
With journal prompts so you could reflect, and then with a variety of action steps that you could take. So that way it meets you wherever you're at. You know, you could try one, you could do all of them, but a variety of concepts around how to take care of yourself, especially with everything going on. Also have meditations in there and guided sleep meditations too. So that's a good one to check out. Using this link, you get access to like a guest pass. And
it's like a free 30-day pass. So you can check it out. It's similar to other meditation apps out there, but this one I think has a little more well-rounded choices. So it's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Anything else we want to recommend? Obviously, if you need telehealth and coaching.
Hey.
Or if you want us to come to your workplace or your community. I mean, we could apply DEI.
Yep.
We've even had these conversations in family sessions.
Hey.
Like let's talk about the different dynamics that are going on here, the different identities.
It's all relational.
See how we can.
It's all relational.
Promote belonging and equity and inclusion in these relationships. So we got you.
We're here.
Thank you for joining us. And we record every Tuesday,
7:30 Eastern. That's 4:30 Pacific Standard. And you can catch us at everywhere that you download podcast or everywhere that you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube.
Yep, we have our recordings on YouTube too. No, you're doing good. You're doing good. He's not used to promoting this kind of stuff.
You just pointed and I just went with it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Good job.
I'm just a therapist. You're the skilled media person.
So this, again, every Tuesday we live stream our recordings for DC Radio. So you get to see the unscripted, raw conversation with profanity. We should probably maybe have more of a warning every time. This should all
be
adult.
Alive?
Yeah, you all should.
You'll have to live with profanity. Sorry. That's going to be a thing.
But for the actual DC Radio show that we're recording, I end up editing it, taking out a bunch of uhs and ums.
Sure.
And I leave the profanity up to them. I don't think we're supposed to be. I think they're blooping it out and then cutting it down. And then it gets put on podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us Wit and Reason with Alex and Dr. Alexis. And then again, the video version and an audio version on YouTube. So thank you so much for joining us. And again, we are here every Tuesday, 4:30 p.m. West Coast, 7:30 p.m. East Coast. And then do you remember what we're talking about next week?
No. I think it's about relationships.
Yeah, because Valentine's Day, if you celebrate.
Yeah.
or if you don't, you just want to like talk about, love and dating and stuff like that. We're going to have a special guest.
Yeah.
Sean Garvey's going to be joining us. Yeah. He has a couple of new podcasts out. That's all perfect for the season.
Mm-hmm.
All about dating and meet cutes and intimacy and poetry. And so we'll have a special guest on the show, and we'll be talking all about
love and dating.
Love, dating, like having fun at any stage of your love life.
Yeah.
Because dating burnout is a very real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then even like for
couples, I work with them on how they're reconnecting because they don't keep the connection alive. So
yeah.
So
we got you.
We got you.
So if you want to, join us Tuesday, same time.
Love, relationships,
and keeping it fun.
Keeping it fun.
All right.